Shalom and welcome to Jerusalem. We are standing here right now at the outskirts of the holiest place in the world. I can actually put out my hand and almost touch the Holy of Holies, the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount, the story of the Temple Mount, of course, begins several thousand years ago, where God approaches Abraham and tells him, take your son, your beloved son, to the land of Moriah, where I will show you one of the mountains. And Abraham takes his son, and he takes his son to the Mount of Moriah. And according to our tradition, the Mount of Moriah is the place where Abraham brings his son. And he's ready to give his son as an offering to God. Until the last moment, the angel says, don't touch him, don't do anything. Now I know you are faithful. And with his faith, the faith of our patriarch Abraham, we follow in his footsteps. Several hundred years later, King David captured Jerusalem. In his time, Jerusalem was what is called the City of David, a small hill south of where we are standing right now. But on top of that, we have a hill, Mount Moriah, Temple Mount. King David purchases the field on this mountain. He then makes every effort to build the temple of God. He wants to build it, but the prophet Nathan tells him no. God said, you will not build the temple. Your son Solomon will build the temple. This is exactly where we're standing right now. The edge, the northern side of the City of David, touching Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah. It's hard to believe that I can say Mount Moriah and look at it right now where I'm standing. Because for centuries and centuries, people of Israel were praying for the day they could come back to the Holy of Holies, to the Temple Mount, the place where God's divine presence is at all times. And here we are standing. And the history takes us through the building of the first temple built by King Solomon. King Solomon builds on the mountain where his father David purchased the field, and his father David was ready to build that temple, but God told him, no, your son Solomon will build it. And here we can see King David purchases the field. He builds an altar on the Temple Mount. He praises it. He brings the Ark of Covenant to the mountain, to the field which he had purchased. And he wants to bring the altar, the Ark, into the mountain. He wants to bring the Ark into the mountain. He then builds the altar on the top of the mountain. But the building of the temple itself only accomplished by his son Solomon. Here we can see King Solomon's temple. The first temple built by King Solomon quickly becomes one of the wonders of the world. What we see over here, we see in front of the temple this brazen sea, bronze reservoir that sat upon 12 ox, as described in the book of Kings, which Solomon constructed for the purification purposes. All of this takes place right over here. The first temple stands for several centuries until the Babylonians come. After the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah are warning the people, please take care of your moral behavior. Please follow the principles of God. But the people of Israel don't follow it, and the Babylonians destroy the first temple. And the first temple is destructed, where all the vessels of the temple are taken along with them to Babylon. But then 70 years later, 7 decades ago, decades away, they begin the return of the people, and they begin building once again the second temple on the same exact location of the very first temple. The second temple built by, at first it begins when Cyrus gives out his declaration and says those who are interested can go and rebuild the temple of God. and many of the people come, tens of thousands of Jews come, and they purchase, and they start building, but then there's a delay of 20 years, until we come to the days of Zerubbabel, till we come to the days of Ezra and Nehemiah, who strengthen the existence of the people of Israel on the Temple Mount. And the second temple is built. The second temple is built, and it's standing there on the same exact location of the first temple. There it is on the second temple, on the same exact location that King Solomon, that exact location that David had purchased. King Solomon builds the second temple. Okay, King Ezra and Nehemiah built the second temple in the exact same location of Solomon's temple. But that temple stands for several years until we know that the Herod comes and he widens the temple. What does he do? He takes the Temple Mount and he enlarges the Temple Mount from an area which is 500 cubits by 500 cubits, which is like 250 meters by 250 meters. He turns it into a place with 140 acres, and as we can see right now in front of us, the Robinson Bridge. If we look right at the corner of the southwestern corner of the Temple Mount, we can see the remnants of this pathway, the stairs that would lead into the temple right above the Herodian Street. And here we can see the Herodian Street. The Ark itself served as a major entrance to the Temple Mount, because as we know, when times of pilgrimage, hundreds and thousands of pilgrims would come from all over the world, and they would want to go into the temple. And as we can see, for instance, on the Passover or on the Feast of the Weeks, the Shavuot, people are coming in and streaming in, and here they are, going up these exact stairs, climbing up, and here we can see that arch, which we see right today, right in front of us, the remnants of that arch. Here we are looking at the arch as it looked like when pilgrims would come and celebrate the festivals, whether it would Passover or Sukkot, and they would climb up and go on, and they would play the music, and they would have many, many people welcoming them on the entrance to the Temple Mount. On top of the Temple Mount, on this corner of the Temple Mount, we had something very interesting. If we follow now, when we go a little further down, we could see the location of a very interesting stone that was found. The stone was found on the floor right over here, and it says on it, Leveit hatki'ah lehachriz, the menorah. It was for him a symbol of victory. It was for him a symbol of no more existence of the Jewish people. It was in his time where the people of Israel go out to final exile. And for him, the fact that he was able to take that menorah with him to Rome symbolized more than anything else the fact that the Jewish people had come to an end. For him, that menorah symbolized the fact that there is no more Jewish existence in Jerusalem. Today, we can proudly say the Jewish people have come back home to their homeland. Many people are coming to visit Jerusalem. People from all nations, people from all over the world are coming to visit Jerusalem. And today, when Titus, who wanted more than anything else to erase any symbol of life in the city of Jerusalem, here we can see the words of the prophets coming out of the book, materializing and becoming a reality in front of our eyes. People from all nations are coming to Jerusalem to call on the name of God. God is one, and his name is one. God bless you. Where are you from? Kenya. Kenya. God bless the people of Kenya. But if we're going back to speak about the menorah That menorah, which was the origin of life. That menorah symbolized more than anything the eternal light of God. That menorah symbolized more than anything else the fact that the origin of light in the world is not the sun. The origin of light in the world is the light of God. Every single day, the priest in the temple would go ahead and light the menorah. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some news for you. That menorah, which was taken away 2,000 years ago by Titus, has been once again rebuilt, re-prepared. Once again, it is here in front of our eyes, standing the one solid menorah, solid gold. Here it is, being rebuilt, waiting to come and serve in the Temple Mount. Here it is, waiting for that priest to come and bring back the light of God and to announce to the entire world, we are back home. The Jewish people have come back home. The words of the prophets, the words of God in the Bible, make me a menorah of solid gold. Here it is. Yes, the people of Israel have come back home. And God, we are here. Here it is. The menorah has been rebuilt. The menorah is waiting for permission to go in and tell God, here we are. That origin of light, that origin of the light of God in the world. Here it is, one solid piece, 6 branches of gold with one centerpiece, a total of seven pieces of gold. It is made of each branch. You can see 3 cups with almonds on them, the knob and the flower, and on top is the candle itself. Exactly as described in the book. Exactly as described in the book. Exactly as described in the book, where God tells Moses, and the Word of God is eternal. The Word of God is here forever. The Word of God is here in front of our eyes. Yes, the Jewish people, God, have prepared you the menorah, and they want to bring the light back onto the Temple Mount, and they want the light of the menorah to bring light to the world, because the world, the eye, the heart of the world is on the Temple Mount. Here we are, God. We have brought and we have prepared the menorah ready to be used. That menorah, which was a symbol of the victory of Titus against the Jewish people, is once again rebuilt and ready to be used. Shalom. איפה אתם? Where are you from? Where? Here we have the golden menorah, recreated for the first time.
Question for the site.
Yes.
Is it real gold?
Yes. It's made of 24 karat gold. It's made of 42 kilo, 24 karat gold. And the gold is pure gold. It's a kosher menorah, ready to be used. One solid piece of gold, 42 kilo of 24 karat gold. The menorah is only one of the vessels. It's only one of the vessels. The entire temple includes many other vessels. We have the golden table of showbread, the golden table of showbread. We have the golden altar for the incense. We have several other vessels, the silver and marble tables, the copper laver, the 3-pronged fork, the shovel for removing the ashes. All of these vessels have been recreated. ready to be used in the temple. Because we have to understand, what is the concept of the temple? Let's talk a little bit about the concept of the temple. A person comes to the temple. He's actually recharging his spiritual batteries. He's connecting to the origin of energy, the origin of spiritual energy. He's meeting God, and he's meeting God with each and every one of his five senses. Each and every one of his five senses. He can smell the incense. He can see the light of the menorah. He can hear the music of the Levites. Yes, you were able to hear the music of the Levites. The music of the Levites includes 120 trumpets. 120 trumpets. Hundreds and hundreds of lyres. We have the harps. And the entire music. So when a person coming to the temple, he actually connects to God with each and every one of his five senses. He's hearing the music. He's smelling the incense. He will eat part of the offerings. He's coming to recharge his spiritual batteries. He's coming to become close to God. To become, once again, a person whose whole life is connected to God. On the other hand, we spoke about the altar, the place where Abraham brings his son. We spoke about bringing the offerings, bringing the first fruits. A person comes to the temple not only to receive, but to give, to bring God his offerings, and to express to God that he understands that everything he has is holy. To express to God that everything he has is a present from God. Humbly enough, the person understands and says, God, here I am, ready to worship you. Here I am, ready to be a servant. Here I am, because of you, to sanctify your name. So we'd say two movements. One is from on top to below down, and that is the movement of the divine presence of God. That is the movement in where a person receives, where a person recharges, where a person refuels his engine. On the other hand, coming to the temple is the highest level of giving. Whereas Abraham is ready to give God his beloved son, his past, his future, his entire existence. This is the temple. The temple, the connection between heaven and earth. The connection between God and land. Between spiritual life and the materialistic world. This is the temple. נראית חזרה לכותל המערבי.
ואחר כך נמשיך למטה, אם ייתנו לנו להיכנס.
All right, and we have to go to a metal detector. So your bags put to the machine, your cameras, you don't have to put the machine. There's a table, put your keys, any metal. You don't have to put coin or wallet, but put your cameras, keys on the table and the coins. All right? Any question, by the way?
Here we are standing in front of the Temple Mount. We spoke about the southern western corner of the Temple Mount. But this western wall goes all along 500 meters. On top stands the location of the temple. Many Jews today, unfortunately, due to the fact that going onto the Temple Mount is not always a very positive experience, many Jews prefer to go and pray at the western wall. The western wall is actually the closest wall to the Holy of Holies. The temple stands from east to west. The temple stands from east to west, and therefore the western wall is the closest to the Holy of Holies. In the temple, the more you go west, the holier you are. So if we can see right now, around the western wall, this plaza, 24 hours a day, has people coming there. Because unfortunately, the Temple Mount today has been taken over by Muslim forces who instigate hatred, hate, and terror from the place which is supposed to more than anything symbolize peace. Many people go to the temple, to the western wall, and they feel that this is the place where they can go. We can see in front of us this bridge, which is called the Mughrabi Bridge, which is the main entrance for any of those who are tourists who are not Muslims into the Temple Mount. As you can see, it's there. It's a wooden bridge. It was built as a temporary bridge. But once they wanted to rebuild the permanent bridge, the Muslims, the Jordanians, came about and said, no, we're not going to allow you to rebuild it. Because if the Jews build something here, it means that we recognize the fact that the Jews are here for good. We Muslims are refusing to recognize that fact. We don't want to recognize the fact that Jews are here forever. So today, more and more Jews are going onto the Temple Mount. But still, we're in a situation where many people prefer going to the Western Wall. We're going to go down to the Western Wall and talk and see some people that are going down to the Western Wall today.
Access to come on tour only.
Hello?
Anyway, let's try to get inside.
As we can see, the line going into the Western Wall is very, very long due to the fact that there's a lot of security. And people have come here. They have to get their valises, their bags checked. They have to get everything checked. And therefore, it sometimes takes a long procedure. I hope today we will have very luck and it will go fast. And here we see that the words of the prophet Isaiah are coming out of the book, materializing and becoming reality in front of our eyes. Here we have a group. Where are you from?
Argentina.
Argentina, United States.
DC.
The Washington, D.C. We have people from all over the world here. We have New York. Where's that? Never heard of the place. Okay. Okay, here we have. And where are you all from? Florida. Florida. Minnesota. All over the United States. These are youngsters from Birthright program who are coming here to connect to their Jewish roots and to recharge their batteries so they can go back temporarily to the States until they come back and make Aliyah to Israel. Okay, we're entering now the plaza of the Western Wall. In 1967, when the Israelis took over the Temple Mount, we were pretty shocked. We couldn't believe that the Temple Mount was in our hands. Yes, we were only waiting just to get back to the Western Wall. We couldn't believe that Temple Mount was in our hands. And here it is, I would say, the power of something that you're used to, the power of your regular life. We were dreaming of the Western Wall, so we stopped at the Western Wall, even though we had the Temple Mount in our hands. And unfortunately, the temporary becomes permanent. And more people decide that the holy place for the Jewish people is the Western Wall. But in a way, the fact that all these tourists are coming here is a blessing. It's a blessing that people are coming to the Western Wall. It'll be a greater blessing when they come to the Temple Mount. Many people here. Shalom. Shalom. Hello, the people of Kenya. Welcome. And we can see the groups here. We have groups of youngsters standing here. And we have children, school kids. Here we are, entering the plaza. As you can see. Here we are, entering plaza of the Western Wall. Actually, what we can see now is only 1/3 of the height. This wall goes another 2/3 down low. Here we can see 12 meters. It goes down another 20 meters down below. Many come here. Here we can see a group of children that are getting their prayer books for the first time. Here they are. They have on their heads the crowns of the Torah. And here they are ready to receive their prayer book. And where do they do it? Right near the wall of the Temple Mount. Here they are receiving, each and every one of them is receiving his prayer book. Here, this boy is coming over to his rabbi, and he will be getting his prayer book. He's receiving his prayer book from the rabbi. The rabbi shakes his hand, and he receives his prayer book. There he is, getting it. See, all these children are coming here to receive their prayer books. We're going to go close, and we'll see how the wall is filled with people who are coming to pour their hearts in front of God. Some of them are written notes. Some of them are reading holy books. Some of them have thoughts in their minds, thinking of financial problems, thinking of problems in the family, praying to God, and thanking God for the privilege of coming to Jerusalem, praying to God. Here we are, standing in front of the wall, closest to the Temple Mount. Here we are, standing, and we see people from all over the world, touching, feeling, wanting to get close, wanting to feel the closeness of the holiness, wanting to feel the holiness in their hearts itself. Here they are. The wall continues further and further. The wall goes on and on. The wall goes on and on. איפה אתה? I can stand here and touch it. I can feel how many tears have been absorbed in this wall. I can feel the hearts of the prayers of so many people throughout history. I can feel how we are so close, yet so far. We are so close because right on the other side is the Temple Mount, right above us. So far, because still people prefer praying down here instead of going up to the place where we're supposed to. The only place in the world where a Jew is commanded to go, the Temple Mount. So yes, people come here. Some of them write notes with various personal prayers, and they put them in the wall, and they want them to go because they want to go to the other side. They want to see the rebuilding of the Holy Temple. They want to see the light of God in the world. They want to see the presence of the divine presence of God. Yes, the Temple Mount, the heart. We can hear the heart beating. Yes, from the place of the Dome of the Rock, from the place of the foundation stone of the world, just right above us on the other side of this wall. Yes, the heart of the people. This is the heart where the Jewish people gets the seed of its light, where the Jewish people understand that they are with the mission of bringing God's light to the world. They are with their aim, their goal in the world, to bring the Word of God to the world. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. And from this place we are praying to God that we will succeed in reaching that day where God's house of prayer will be a house of prayer for all nations. And from here there won't be any war, no more bloodshed. And from here will come out the message of peace to the entire world. And all the nations will say, Aya dai lemelech al kol haaretz. Hayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. In that day, all the nations will call out the name of God. He will be one. His name will be one. God bless us all. We hope to see that very great day. I want to thank all those who joined us today on our tour to Jerusalem. We will be continuing visiting Jerusalem because Jerusalem is our heart. We will continue showing the beauty of Jerusalem and trying to connect to the beauty of Jerusalem. From the place, the holiest place in the world, the place chosen by God, I want to send each and every one of you a blessing in the name of God. Each and every one of you should bring His light to your friends, to your relatives, to your neighbors. The light of God, the light from Jerusalem, the light of the world.